Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Frisco, Texas, here at Twin Peaks. I'm Eric Bunnell, Bison Information Network Sports Predator. He's Jeff Culhane, the radio voice of the Bison. Jeff, what's the experience like been since your first time?
I tell you what, first of all, thanks for having me, Eric, and it's been just an absolute blast. We're having so much fun down here. You know, the Bison bus is right behind us. We hauled it all the way down from Fargo to Frisco, and it's really turned into Fargo South, obviously. I was just talking to a fan and a friend inside, and he said, I mean, if you didn't know it, you'd think you're in Fargo right now, because Bison Nation has done it again. They've flocked down to Frisco, Texas, and are just dominating the scene down here. We're here at Twin Peaks in Frisco with our live shows on Bison 1660, and it's been a packed house since 11 a.m. This morning. People are waiting outside, and it's going to be like this probably till they close tonight. That's just how great Bison Nation is. So it's an unbelievable experience. I'm having an amazing time and looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Speaking of the game tomorrow, you just brought in my next point. NDSU, ever since that loss to South Dakota State with the 5 turnovers, what have you seen from that they've been able to turn it around?
Yeah, I think they've locked it in, Eric. Sometimes you hear that a loss is good for teams during the season, and I agree to that to some extent, I think. But I think this team has refocused. I think you saw that in the USD game the week later, where USD came in and they were a top 10, top 15 team in the country, and the Bison just beat them down that day. So I think after being away for a year, I think this group has that hunger. They've got that razor sharp edge and focus right now, and they're playing their best football at this point in time. And you put all those things together and then throw JMU into the mix, the team that obviously ended the run a year ago. This team's playing with a chip on their shoulder right now.
You think this season, with them losing last year, they came in with more of a mindset of, we're going to go down to Frisco, we're going to win it all, because we lost last year and we didn't like that feeling?
I think what that did, it did a couple of things. I think it alleviated some of the pressure of having to always answer the question about the streak and when is it going to end and how do you not have it. I mean, it was going to end at some point in time, whether we liked it or not. And so I think that relieved some of that pressure and some of that stress. But I think what it did also is it just let these guys go back to just playing football and playing Bison football. And so, getting some of the injured guys back, and Nate Tangway and Nick DeLuca back has been fantastic. Jabril Cox might be the most athletic linebacker in the country, the way he plays, and his emergence has been great. And then offensively, Easton Stick is playing his best football of his career right now, 10 touchdown passes to 1 interception. He's playing great, coupled with the way Courtney Messingham is calling plays and how Bruce Anderson is running the football. So I think this team just sort of embraced the understanding that, hey, people are going to come at us game in and game out. We got to step up. We got to play Bison football. They've done that week in and week out.
You mentioned Nate Tangway and Nick DeLuca. They weren't here this last game when they played James Madison last year. What do they bring to the table? What experience do they bring to the table?
Well, it's huge. I mean, it's, you go back and watch the film of that game in the semifinals last season, and you look, and the front 7, and this is not a knock on them at all, but with injuries and graduation, all those guys are different for the most part this year compared to a year ago. And give James Madison all the credit in the world. They were the better team that night, but they didn't face Nate Tangway, and they didn't face Nick DeLuca, and they haven't seen Jabril Cox. So I think especially with Tangway and DeLuca in mind, seniors, Nate mentioned it during the press conference last week, or earlier this week rather, that, I've been thinking about this opportunity since the clock went to 0 in the semifinal game last season. So there's definitely a hunger there. Does it mean that it will equate to a win? No, not necessarily, but it does mean there's a bigger challenge, I think, for James Madison than what they saw last season.
Is it going to be like the 2015 National Championship against Illinois State, where it's a game-winning drive by either team?
You know what? It might be. It might be, Eric. It could be a game where it comes down to the final drive, comes down to a final kick. There's the potential for that. I think it's going to be a great football game. Obviously NDSU has plenty of experience down here. James Madison now has that same experience as the defending national champions. But if the Bison run the football early in drives and on early downs and don't force the passing game to try and move it, it's going to be a successful day, I think. To me, the final score is 24-20 in favor of NDSU winning tomorrow afternoon.
Perfect. And the Missouri Valley, talk about their toughness. 7 of the last 7 seasons, a Missouri Valley team has been down here. And last year, we saw a team that was 4th in the conference in Youngstown State. What is does that say about the conference?
Well, it's the best conference in FCS college football, period. I mean, there's nothing that's even close. You know, the Colonial is a good conference. The Big Sky has their ups and downs. The Southland is what it is. But the Missouri Valley Football Conference, Eric, is the best conference in FCS college football, period. Obviously, NDSU has led the way. Youngstown State, led by Bo Pelini and a great defense last year. They got hot late and won some big games on the road and deserved their spot in Frisco. So the Valley is tops. They are the elite in FCS college football, and everybody's chasing them right now.
Well, he is Bison 1660 play-by-play guy for the North Dakota State Bison. Catch him tomorrow on 92.7 in Fargo, Bison 1660, and we'll hope for a Bison victory.